besties, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing episode 2 of TBR Takeover. Basically, this is a series on my channel where some of my booktube friends will send me lists of books that they want me to read, and they take over my reading for a whole week, and it's just a lot of fun. The first episode we read books that were picked by Riley Marie, so I'll link that down below if you want to see that, because all of the books she picked were absolute bangers. I absolutely loved reading those books. And so on the docket this week we have Monica from Monica Kim, who is one of my best friends. I love her so much. We have been friends since 2015. She was one of my first like real booktube friends that I met in real life, and now I visit her all the time. We go on vacation together. I love her so much. She is such a sweet person. If you have ever watched her channel, you will absolutely know what I'm talking about. She just has this like gentle, soft nature about her, and I just love being friends with her. Like, everything about Monica is so cozy. She is just like, if you took coziness and like made it into a person, like that is who Monica is, and I love her so much. Also, random aside, I recently got this bow headband. I don't normally wear bows, but I saw this online and I really liked the look of it. It just felt like very Christmas to me, and I love velvet, so I went ahead and got it. And so when I thought about filming the intro to this video, I was like, I definitely need to wear this because anything bow related reminds me of Monica, because like I said earlier, she's so cozy and cute, and everything cute is just very Monica. And so I do think that if she was wearing this top and this headband, they would be in the color pink. So I'm doing my version of it because I'm definitely more into black than she is. Anyway, I'm gonna insert the clip now of Monica telling me what to read, and then we will go forth and read all the books, and it'll be a fun time.
Hi Sarah, so I was so honored when you asked me to give you 3 book recommendations that you should read for your video, and I came up with 3. Initially, I will be honest, I debated giving you 3 very dense books, but I realized that was a little mean, so hopefully I've broken this up to be a bit more digestible. And yeah, these are 3 books that I really love and I hope you'll enjoy. I feel like our reading taste tends to either be that we like intensely love / hate the same thing, or we're polar opposites on our feelings about books. So I'm intrigued to see where we land on these 3. So the first book I'm recommending is Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. Now you might be surprised that I'm not recommending Mistborn or the Final Empire, which is the first book in the Mistborn trilogy, but I think Warbreaker is such an amazing spot to start with Brandon Sanderson. I feel like because it is a standalone, it gives such a great introduction to his writing style and the way that he crafts his plots and all of that, and just like how he writes fantasy. And honestly, I just really also enjoy this book a lot. We follow 2 princesses who are exiled from their kingdom, and there is now this new like god king who is ruling over everything, and the oldest daughter has been sort of raised her entire life knowing that one day she would be sent to the capital in order to marry this god king, and then her younger sister has always really just wanted to be free. She hates the like austerity of the kingdom, or the like exiled kingdom that she's been raised in, and she just wants out of it. And we follow their journey, and it's full of lots of really amazing characters and twists and turns, and yeah, I think you'll have fun. Hopefully you'll have fun reading this one. It's one of my favorites, and again, I think it's a great place to start with Brandon Sanderson.
Okay, a couple of things. Number 1, Monica's nails in this clip are so beautiful. I don't know if you guys caught that. Like, her nails look so good. Number 2, I don't like love the cover of that Brandon Sanderson book, but that's really fine. Number 3 is that I totally should have known that Monica was going to choose Brandon Sanderson for me, because that is an author that she's been telling me to read for so long. Brandon Sanderson is one of those high fantasy authors that I've always intended on reading. Like, he's on my TBR in theory, but I've always been a little bit intimidated, so I'm glad that she has recommended me a book that she thinks is good for beginners who are like new to his work and his world building.
So the next book I'm recommending is also another favorite of mine, and it's a little bit of a long one, so sorry, but that is Pachinko by Min-Jin Lee. This is a multi-generational historical fiction novel that's set in Korea and Japan during the colonization of Korea, and it is just so good in my opinion. I love multi-generational fiction, and I love this one in particular because I feel like Min Jin Lee is able to both tell this very large story while also a very personal story. And yeah, I just think it's so well done, so beautifully written, and so compelling. So I really hope that you like this one, and I hope you're not mad at me for picking such a chunky book.
Okay, I want to read Pachinko because I think it's interesting, and I don't read a lot of historical fiction, and I do like multi-generational stories, but that book is so long. That is the only reason I've never read it. Well, not the only reason. I don't read like historical fiction like all the time, so it's just not something that I would normally pick up, but I know that Monica has said it's really good, and I know that Apple TV made a TV show that I thought looked pretty interesting, so I'm nervous, besties. That book is so long.
And then lastly, I kind of thought that I would give you something a little bit lighter. This is a book that I read recently and really enjoyed, and that is Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. And I know that you recently hauled this one, so I thought that it would work out since you already own it. If you're in like a mood for something just cozy and whimsical and romantic, like this is such a perfect pick. It's like just a cute romance, like pretty wholesome, like cute romance. It has those Regency romance vibes. Basically in this we follow Theodora, who is cursed to only have half a soul, and this like causes her to have a lot of like conflict in like just society, and especially with her aunt, and she ends up traveling with her aunt and cousin to go to London because her cousin is supposed to be trying to find a husband, and there she meets the Lord Sorcier. This is just like really cute and fluffy, so I'm hoping it'll be like a good palate cleanser. So yeah, these are the books that I am recommending to you for your video. I hope that you enjoy them, but I have a feeling that there's at least going to be one that we differ opinions on, and I'm excited for that conversation regardless. So thank you again so much for including me, and good luck.
Okay, Monica's so right. I did recently haul Half a Soul. Sorry if I was blurry for part of that clip, but I did recently haul this because Monica has spoken really highly of it. I've seen it a couple of times online, like not a ton of people talking about it besides Monica, but when I hung out with her in LA, she bought this at Barnes & Noble and bought the sequel as well, or I don't really remember. Regency romance is kind of right up my alley, and this book is far shorter than Pachinko and Warbreaker, so I'm really excited to get into these 3 books. So let's see what I think. Okay guys, I totally meant to update you sooner, but I got very carried away. I started reading Half a Soul. It's over there underneath that penguin. I can't get it because I decorated my bookshelves for Christmas, and I don't want to disturb my little penguin friend over there, so Half a Soul is gonna have to stay over there, but I do have a copy of it. Anyways, I read the whole thing. I didn't mean to read it all. I meant to vlog it, but then it was so good I couldn't put it down. Like, it is a 5-star read. This book had me kicking my feet and blushing. Like, I could not get over how adorable the romance was. I was absolutely obsessed. This book is about a girl named Dora who has lost half her soul to a fairy. Like, he like stole half her soul, and so she has to kind of operate with like half of her emotions. And so she meets Elias, who is a magician, and he is trying to help her get her soul back. And so through this process they fall in love, and he is a very like curmudgeonly character. It is definitely sort of like not enemies to lovers, but they don't really like each other at first because the guy is so grumpy and unfriendly. But everything about this was so cute. Like, I literally was giggling while I was reading this. Like, I literally was going like this while I was listening to the audiobook. I was like, Half a Soul completed half of my soul. Like, together we make one soul. Like, that is how much I love this book. And that leads me into the next book that I've been reading. I am about halfway through Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I had a really hard time getting into it in the beginning, and I think it's because it's very high fantasy, and it had been a while since I read a high fantasy, and so like the magic system and just trying to understand the world took me a second. Like, I was constantly like, Brandon, what do you mean there's colors and breaths? Like, I don't understand. Like, the magic system has to do with like taking people's breaths and then using the breaths to like reanimate objects, and it was really hard for me to understand. I think I finally do understand. I actually did look up like a chapter summary. Like, I was literally like sparks noting the book while I was reading it, because I would like read a chapter and be like, I don't think I understood what just happened. And so far I'm feeling like this is like a 3-star read because there are aspects that I like. There's a lot of different perspectives that we're following. And one of the perspectives we're following is this guy that's a god named Lightsong. I think that's his name. And I really like him. He's very funny and interesting to follow. And there's also a girl who's a princess named Siri who has been like basically sent to marry this like god king. But then the other perspective is this other princess named Vivenna, who is Siri's sister. And she has come to the city to find Siri because she wants to like rescue her from like marrying this god king. And unfortunately, I do not like Vivenna at all because religion is a huge aspect of this book. Like the gods have to do with the religion of this place called Holandrin, and then Siri and Vivenna are from a place called Idris, I believe, and they have a different religion where they like worship this god named Austri, and it kind of reminds me of like Christianity because a lot of it has to do with like modesty and stuff. And so Vivenna is just like a judgmental bitch the whole time. Like while she's in Holandrin, she thinks like everyone is a heathen, and I just like really don't like reading from her perspective because she is so self-righteous. So I don't really like tend to love overly religious stories. Like I don't mind religion being in fantasy because that typically is the case, because typically they are displaying that religion is corrupt. So even in some of my favorite fantasy books, that is an aspect, but I feel like it's like really overbearing in this book. All of the government has to do with religion, and so there's just a lot of like different things like that going on. And then I feel like also knowing in the back of my mind that Brandon Sanderson is Mormon is like a really interesting aspect to add in to reading this. I am going to do my nails tonight, where I will put on my first Christmas set. You may have seen in an earlier vlog, I've been like filming this every once in a while of me doing my nails. I do my own nails with like these like semi-cured gel nail strips. So I'm going to take these off and then replace them with my first Christmas set because it is the last week of November and I just want to kind of get into Christmas. I'm not normally a Christmas girl, but I've decided I'm going to become one because being an adult, there's not always all the happiness in the world. And I have found all the bitches that like Christmas tend to be a lot happier. And I thought, why not also get into a commercial holiday to feel happier? Like I'm typically more into Halloween, like I'm a Halloween bitch. Why not make the end of the year happier by also being into Christmas? So that's also why I decorated all of my bookshelves. And so I want to put on Christmas nails and just be happy. Okay, besties, I'm here. I forgot to update you about Warbreaker, and I forgot to show off my nails that I did in that clip. But Warbreaker, definitely a solid 3-star book. That should have been a trilogy. I feel like Brandon Sanderson tried to put his whole writeressy into this one book, and it was just too much information. It was too much. And so the ending was super rushed. I got a little more okay with the religion stuff that I was talking about earlier. As the book went on, it kind of made more sense, and I was like, okay, whatever. But I still really struggled to like Vivenna. She did have character development, but overall I still was just like, like this definitely should have been multiple books. It was just really rushed. It was a lot of stuff to put in one tome. Like it was a lot. It was a lot. I feel like I'm just repeating myself a lot. I'm giving it 3 stars. So unfortunately, I'm so sorry, Monica, because this video is dedicated to books that you wanted me to read. I think we might have missed the mark with this one, but it's okay because I did love Half a Soul. That was a 5-star book. And I have more good news. I have since been reading Pachinko, and I want to say like 3/4 of the way through. Like I have very little left of the book, and I love it. I love it. I am shocked. I'm so shocked. The writing, the characters, I have wept multiple times reading this book, and this is the kind of book that every time I get to a certain point, I go over to my boyfriend and I tell him everything that happened in the book. Whenever I'm really excited about something I'm reading, I always do that, and I just make him listen to me recount the entire book in great detail, even though he literally doesn't care. It is just the most touching, multi-generational book that I've ever read, and it's so harrowing and sad at points, but also makes me feel so warm inside. I know that I'm literally just a random white girl and that Korean and Japanese culture literally have nothing to do with me, but I feel as if this book is my heart. Like I feel like my heart is in this book and my book is this heart. Like Pachinko is right here in my chest. And I know that's weird because I have no connection to these cultures, but it's just so fascinating. I'm learning so much about history. I feel like I sound stupid talking about this book because it's really deep. I feel like I sound so frivolous and silly because this book literally has so many depths. It's like an onion. Like you just like peel back all the layers up through all the generations. When it first started out, I wasn't sure. Like I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. And then the more it went, the more I was like, oh my god, like I'm pretty sure I'm gonna give this book 5 stars. Like I said, I'm very close to the end and I am loving it so much. Again, I'm coming to you with a very happy, excited update about Pachinko, but if you saw me while I was reading this, I've been weeping. Like I've literally been crying every time I read this book. I literally look like an egg right now and I look horrible because I've been crying, but I just finished Pachinko. Billy, did you fart? Oh my god, Billy just came in my room and she farted. Oh my god, Billy, it smells horrible. Okay, Pachinko is not a perfect book. There's definitely certain things like in the narrative that I wish were different, or I wish that we could hear more about particular characters. Like there was a couple of plot lines that I wish that I could have heard more about. Emotionally, it's probably one of the most impactful books I've ever read in my life. I literally was gonna film the conclusion to this video tomorrow when I looked better because my hair, literally, it's up right now. I literally am giving egg. Like, I look horrible right now. I just finished Pachinko and I was like, I need to just get my real reaction on camera. Listen, I cry really easily, so making me cry with a book is not like that hard. But there's just something about Pachinko where I just cried at the beginning, the middle, the end. It's just like history wasn't kind to certain types of people. And I feel like there was just such an identity struggle of like being Korean and like living in Japan. And then like the war was like hard on everybody. And it was just like, I just wanted everybody in this family to be happy. I'm gonna be so embarrassed when I edit this.
Yes.
Also, I'm so ugly when I cry and my hair looks so bad right now. Monica, why did you do this to me? Let's do a recap on this video. So the first book that Monica had me read was Half a Soul, which was phenomenal, 5 stars. Like, also one of the best books that I've ever read. I'm so happy that I read it. And then the second book, Warbreaker, was not as much of a hit. I'm gonna give that 3 stars. I just feel like it should have been a trilogy or a duology or something, and Brandon Sanderson tried to pack way too much into one book, and I didn't love the world building and the emphasis on religion. Like, there was just a lot of aspects that were not my favorite things in fantasy books. But the biggest surprise of this video, as you can tell, is how much I loved Pachinko. Like, Half a Soul was so good. Like, that's a 5-star book as well. But Pachinko, literally, I feel like that book is my heart, which makes no sense because I am a white girl with no culture and I have nothing to do with Korea or Japan. Thank you, Monica, for making me read this, because I probably would have never in a million years picked up Pachinko just because I don't typically read historical fiction, and there was nothing about it that like called out to me. I didn't really know what it was about besides it being about like multiple generations of a family. It's just like, it's so good. So I would have to say that episode 2 of TBR Takeover was a success. If you want to watch episode 1, I'll link it down below. In that video, Riley chose my TBR, and spoiler alert, she also very successfully picked a lot of books that I enjoyed reading. And so I feel like my friends just have good taste. Like, we're all just like flawless girlies that just like have good book taste. Let me know down below if there are any particular booktubers that you'd want to see me do TBR Takeover with. I am going to be reaching out to people that I feel comfortable with, that I'm close enough with to ask. But if there's anyone that you really want me to shoot my shot with, to ask if they would give me a little video of them telling me what to read, I am happy to do that. It will take a lot of me emotionally to ask someone for a favor, but I'll do it. If you've made it to the end of the video, feel free to use the crying emoji in your comments so that I know that you made it to the end, that you enjoyed it. I can't believe I cried so much on camera. I literally turned on the camera on purpose to show you that I was crying, but now I'm feeling a little bit embarrassed, but it's fine. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. You're all beautiful. Have a nice day.